There is no way in the world that before Charlie can be put in the ground, that people are floating the idea and pushing this extreme idea that somehow he turned on Israel. To what end? Because if you're not going to conclude that Israel was behind his death, then whether he turned on Israel, had a difference of opinion about Israel or not, is irrelevant to his death. So why bring it up? Don't let them trick you. When I see people talking about the Jews, it bothers me. The Jews did it. The Jews did it. They're taking responsibility away from the person who really did it and confessed to it. They taking that power, or they giving him power, emboldening him, eluding what he did to talk about this when there's no evidence whatsoever. So let's go down the food chain. Here's a clip from this guy named Nick Fuentes. If you don't know him, good on you, because he's an idiot. He is a narcissistic idiot. Don't let this fool trick your young people, because now that Charlie's gone, he's trying to position himself to get the mind of the youth to be stupid like him. Radical, stupid, hateful, racist people like him. Charlie was not like this. Charlie would never say that you can't marry somebody of the opposite, not opposite, but of a different race. Charlie would never in his life say, I want my kids to be white. Charlie never felt that. Charlie never said that. Charlie never discriminated. When we first started Turning Point, he first started Turning Point USA, his best friend was a black woman, Candace. They were like this, bro. Flying on an airplane together, everything. I thought they was in a relationship at one point. I was like, they must be, oh, that's a good couple right there. Look, they going everywhere together. They ain't a couple. Then when I got to know him, I realized they weren't, but Charlie ain't no racist. This guy is a racist. Listen, y'all, the system isn't broken, it's rigged. And if you're buried in debt, that's exactly how they want it. Big banks profit when you're desperate. Creditors win when you're losing, but you don't have to play their game. PDS Debt helps you fight back with a personalized plan tailored for your financial situation. And whether it's credit cards, personal loans, collections, or even medical bills, PDS Debt has customized options to help you save more, pay off your debt faster, and keep more money in your pocket. They don't care about your credit score, just helping you win. They've helped hundreds of thousands get out of debt and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. If I needed it, which before I did, now thank God I got my credit right, but if I needed it, this is exactly the company that I work with. And if you're struggling with your debt, you should work with them as well. You're 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment right now at pdsdebt.com/Tatum. That's pdsdebt.com/Tatum. And for the people in the back, pdsdebt.com/Tatum. And let me say this before I play this clip. Don't forget what he said about Charlie before Charlie's death. Don't forget what he said. He called Charlie a fake Christian. He said Charlie should never be able to go to campus without getting harassed, without getting accosted. He said it out of his own mouth. Don't make me pull a film.
We had our disagreements. Where we did agree is that he would go to these college campuses and proclaim the name of Jesus Christ. And ultimately, that is why he was killed. The gunmen that killed him, they hated him because of his defense of Christian morality. Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. Sorry, you forfeited that. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything, without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this. This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony and fake way, talking about, oh, God made me very blessed that I control $500 million. Oh, I'm so blessed. I'm so rich and I'm so blessed. And oh, God's been so good to me. I'm such a Christian. Oh, the Lord gave me the Sabbath. I take Saturday off. You sit there and call yourself a Christian and then you make excuses for the genocide of 2 million people? Seriously? You stand there and purport to be an evangelist like Billy Graham? Oh, you're the latest Billy Graham? You're our generation's America's pastor? Why? Because you said the right words? Because you said, God bless, God bless. God bless, my friend. Oh, I rebuke the devil in the name of Jesus. And then you go around from campus to campus making excuses for a famine?
He said the most terrible things about Charlie Kirk, and it made me so mad. You can go back and look at my Twitter, right? You go look right now. Go back in time before Charlie's death. I was on Twitter defending Charlie against this guy. They claiming Charlie's a coward. He didn't want to debate him. This guy's a nut. That's why Charlie wouldn't waste his time debating a nut job. He said all these negative things. I'm never going to forget it. I'm not going to forget it. And don't wait till he's dead to come out and try to act like you cool or act like you kind of like him or act like you believe in his form of Christianity when you said he was a fake Christian. And now he's trying to position himself in Charlie's spot. I said it on my X account that he represents the devil. Charlie is representing God, and the devil wants the godly man's place. And so he's going to come on and capitulate and mitigate his real thoughts so he can try to position himself to be the next Charlie Kirk, leading young boys to stupidity. He's not married. He don't have no kids. That boy don't know what he's talking about. In the video with a furry. I'll pull a tape. He was in a video with a furry. I didn't know the gay stuff. So some dude had bunny ears or something on him, and he riding around with him all day, went to lunch with him and everything. It's on camera. He did it. Talking about he was trolling. Bro, that's your boy. You like the shooter, your boyfriend, and you don't want nobody to know you up there, man on your back at night. It's mostly the ones that are hyper Christian that hate everybody. Be the ones that laying on their back with some fairy on the back of them. And I bet that's what this boy doing. Go check his files. That's why he ain't got no woman. It ain't because he really so dedicated to it. Man, he got it because he got a tranny back there. All right, let's play this clip and we'll go from there. Roll it.
Time to wake up, guys. Some of this, I'll be the first one to say, the conspiratard schizo thing, it's getting a little out of control.
Which is what he did.
And that's coming from me.
Go.
I mean, it's like we are truly through the looking glass. When Charlie Kirk is assassinated, people blame Israel. I, who fought Charlie Kirk because he was pro-Israel, am being said to, I'm being said to be covering up that he was killed for this miraculous conversion. If Ben Shapiro was taken out next, and God forbid, would Israel be behind that too? I mean, that would be equally ridiculous. If it was Ben Shapiro on Wednesday, people would be saying, Israel did it. Shapiro was about to become a national socialist. Like, what? It's crazy. Anyway, so that just needs to be said.
Funny that he say that. And in post-production, I'm going to have Nick throw some clips in there. This fool literally, when it first happened, he just said recently that it was confirmed that Benjamin Netanyahu, or maybe he said allegedly, that Benjamin Netanyahu offered Charlie Kirk $150 million. He said that publicly. He is framing this, but he's trying to back off of it so he can sound a little more reasonable, so he can sneak his way in, and he can now say, I'm the new Charlie Kirk. And let me tell you the trick of the enemy, because he is articulate. He's very convincing. He knows enough to know how to talk well. That's how he tricked the youth. I would never have a young person tell him to go listen to Nick Fuentes. That man that say he about God and he cuss every time he talk. He cussing and saying something crazy. Anyway, let's go to another idiot. Bassem, Youssef. Think he was that. Is that the comedian? On Piers Morgan talking stupid. Do we have that clip? Clip 3. That's him. He looked like a fool. Listen to what he say, wrote a clip.
Some of these Bassem is never enough for you. You see, it doesn't matter how critical journalists are about Israel. It will never be enough for you because you want the right. You want the right to suggest that Charlie Kirk was the subject of a hit job by Israel. You want the world to think that. That's why you said what you said, and that's why when I asked you, you went, Netanyahu says it wasn't him.
By the way, I'm not even the only one. People are actually, here's the thing. If you continue lying to your people, right? I'll tell you what. Let's call me a conspiracy theorist, right? Yeah. Call me someone who is illogical. Call me whatever you want. If your government continues to lie to you consistently, this is where conspiracy theorists thrive. If you're not transparent,
why do you want to be one of them?
If you want to cover, no. I'm not saying I'm one.
Why? Why float a mad conspiracy theory about Israel?
Because it's the internet, and I'm a comedian.
Okay, but it's not that funny, though, is it?
Actually, a lot of people thought it was very funny.
You have millions, I'm sure they did, but millions of people follow you, and you want them to think that Israel was behind the murder of Charlie Kirk. And you call me an ill-informed, irresponsible journalist.
Yeah, because I'm not a journalist. I'm a comedian. Remember, I'm a clown. I
don't think you're a clown.
That's what I do. Oh, I'm a clown. Actually, I'm a comedian. Comedians are actually overpaid.
But I think you're somebody who is so blindly hateful of all things Israel that you'll even promote a conspiracy.
Did the clip end it? So anyway, he tried to divert and say, oh, I'm a comedian. It was not very serious, although he was pushing the conspiracy that Israel was behind this. He did it. Nick Fuentes did it. It's a whole bunch of other people on the internet doing that. They doing it subtly, and they also doing it directly. There is no way in the world that before Charlie can be put in the ground, that people are floating the idea and pushing this extreme idea that somehow he turned on Jews or turned on Israel. To what end? Because if you're not going to conclude that Israel was behind his death, then whether he turned on Israel, had a difference of opinion about Israel or not, is irrelevant to his death. So why bring it up? Why not focus on the mental illness and the evilness of these people who are on the left, who instead of debating ideas, they want to eliminate you so they don't have to debate your ideas. Them getting owned on camera, instead of them getting owned, they want to eliminate you so they can have an excuse not to be owned no more. Don't let them trick you. Unless they come out and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I should have never been pushing this Israel stuff. Don't let them come back and try to back off of it. Because the more information we get, the more testimonies we get, all of those things lead to the fact that nut job planned and went up on that roof and shot our friend and killed him. And he not the only one that want to do it and that plan on doing it. But you keep looking at Israel, you're going to get blind spotted over here. You keep looking at Israel, and then a pro-Israeli person think you can't be next because you think I'm good with Israel, so nothing going to happen. No, these people are a threat. They're a threat to Charlie. They're a threat to me. They're a threat to the young people on campus. They have always been a threat. But there's a once-in-a-generation nut that's willing to assassinate somebody. Once in a generation, you'll have somebody, that one person that's willing to assassinate and spend the rest of his life in jail. Let's go to Tucker. This is what bothers me about this, and I'm going to play it. Roll the clip. Oh, we got Tucker clip 4. This is what bothers me, and this is why I don't fool with him no more. I don't want nothing to do. I've lost faith in Tucker Carlson. I never really liked him a lot. I didn't like how he talked. Like, he was very condescending and he's just weird. But I respected his gangster because he was keeping it real. On Fox News, he was hitting them over the head. He would do tough interviews with Trump or anybody. And then somehow a tapeworm got in him, and now he just say the craziest stuff on planet Earth. Charlie has not been buried yet, and this is the stuff he's saying. Roll the clip.
He did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said it to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it. Didn't hate Netanyahu. He wasn't out there with a placard saying that, but he certainly expressed that to me and a lot of other people. And there's no question that Bibi's defenders on the internet will call me a liar or a kook, but that's a fact. And enough text messages exist that I think it can probably be verified in pretty short order. Not that it needs to be, because that is true. Shortly after that speech, there was a very intense attack on Charlie, and to some extent on me, not that I really noticed. But on him, I have no donors. He had $100 million worth of donors. And so, because he was involved in a different project from just yapping on the internet, which is what I do for a living, he was dependent to a great extent on his donors, of course. It's a nonprofit. And they went after him and tormented him. Not all, of course. Many were supportive, but
I know many
were
of
offended
them
by my speech. And there was a small, very intense group who were tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died.
Let's get this correct. I lose respect every time I listen to them talk. We'll play this debate, and I want you to I want you to put this in perspective. Even if what Tucker is saying is true, what does it matter? What does it really matter right now? What does it really matter after he's been killed by somebody? What does it matter? But then he goes on to say, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu and his donors. Think about this for a minute. And this is coming from a person who has been with Turning Point USA since 2017. An anti-Semitic person like Tucker Carlson, is on stage spewing hatred against Jews and conspiracies, why would a donor that's Jewish or that is donating to you because you are elevating the Zionist ideas that you have had since you was 16 years old, why would they not have a problem with it? You can believe that they're wrong or right or whatever your opinion is, but you can't deny that. Why would a donor say, I have no problem with you bringing this nut on stage in front of all of these young people and spewing stupidity? This ain't the Tucker Carlson of Fox News or the Tucker Carlson before he fell off a cliff. This is the new Tucker, where he gets on there and he interviews a nun and don't push back on her not one time. He gets on the TV and say he will give condolences for Osama bin Laden's family. This sorry son of a gun will get on there and say he don't know if Hamas is a terrorist group. Why would a Jewish person give money to an organization if this guy is the one on the stage, prime time, the hottest spot at the conference, saying stupidity? Now, you ain't got to like it, but you crazy to think somebody's not going to have pushback. I know many of the people who donate to Turning Point USA. Many of them will go to bat for Charlie. I've seen it with my own eye. They took care of Charlie. They loved Charlie. Charlie could, he was the man. He was the man. I seen it. I work with Turning Point. I see him. They love him. Donating hundreds of millions of dollars to Turning Point, which is a good cause. But I feel the offense when you're like, well, wait a minute, man. This is what Charlie would say, and how did he go from this to what Tucker is saying? And this is what, a month ago? Something like that? About a month ago? Wrote a clip.
Let me ask you, in the conflict of Israel versus Hamas, who's the good guy?
I believe both Hamas and the Israeli government are evil, but I think also that there is no justification.
Are they equally?
There is no justification for the murder and
Look at this
mutilation
weirdo.
of thousands of innocent people and children in a futile.
Let's zero in on
Look
it.
at
There
him.
is no justification, Mr. Kirk, for invading hospitals, for bombing innocent populations and dragging out a war which is damaging Israel and the West's security.
You've made that point, but
Well, it's not a point, it's a moral truth, isn't it?
yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Let me finish, I let you talk. Israel, at its holiest day of the calendar year besides Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, Samat Torah, the 50-year anniversary of the Six-Day War. On Shabbat, Hamas invaded Israel, deciding to go recklessly to music concerts, to homes, to kibbutzes, and taking 200 plus hostages. They knew what they were doing. In one of the most cloistered urban environments on the planet, 2 million people live in a place where it's impossible to wage war. Impossible. Where they wear civilian clothing, they violate every tenet of the Geneva Convention, and the IDF, when they do something right, they get no credit. When they do life-saving surgeries of a Gazan child, they get no credit. When they drop leaflets, they get no credit. But when they happen to bomb a place where they are operating their military from, which we now know from third-party verified sources, hundreds of Hamas military operations are in mosques, schools, and hospitals. I'm sorry, the country where they were living in relative peace on October 6th, that all of a sudden we had a war and Hamas started the war. And I don't see people that were really upset about the 2 million Germans that were killed in World War II, civilians. A tragic truth of war is that civilians die. I don't like it and you don't like it. And they brought it upon themselves. The only operation and entity to blame is the leadership of Hamas, not the Israeli government, for fighting this defensive war after they were invaded. There is a good guy and there is a bad guy. I honestly...
Isn't that the morality of a child?
Well, hold on. It's interesting you say that, because a child who knows that Israel is the good guy, Hamas is bad, has a lot more wisdom than a student like yourself at Cambridge University.
Now, people can say there's text messages that exist. That's fine. But did anything he say here was untrue? He literally, across from a Cambridge student, whooped him over the head with factual information. And Charlie said the government wasn't the problem. Now I got more for you. Let's put a clip up where Charlie was, it was the compilation. You got another one?
Yeah, I have this one too.
Oh, let's play that one and then we'll play the compilation. And I'm not saying that Charlie hadn't felt some type of way about Netanyahu towards the end of his life. I'm not saying that. But this is the body of work from Charlie Kirk over the years. Roll the clip.
The greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and the second greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and I've been there twice.
I agree.
I'm a huge supporter of the Holy Land, of Judea and Samaria, and up against the terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, and the Palestinian Authority. I go to college campuses, and I've spoke at more college campuses than any Christian conservative in the last couple of years. Stanford, Berkeley, Brown, UCLA, University of Texas, University of Michigan, Michigan State University, you name it, I've probably spoken at major universities or states all across the country, from Montana State to Maine. And I am confronted many times by young Christians that believe that Israel is an oppressive apartheid state that basically should not exist in its current form. And so I am here to clearly communicate to you that we have to do a much better job of communicating, of conveying, I should say, the geopolitical significance of the state of Israel. The world's a better place because of the state of Israel. We have all three monotheistic religions represented in the Israeli Knesset and the Israeli Supreme Court. Israel actually expresses freedom of religion. I'll never forget when I was driving down to Hebron last year, and you're driving down south from Jerusalem, and there's this sign, and I don't speak Arabic, nor do I speak Hebrew. So I turned to my driver. I said, "What does that sign say?" There was no English translation, and there was a arrow in the middle and an arrow to the right, arrow to the left, and the arrows to the right and left were red, and the arrow in the middle was black or some other, not a warning color. And so I said, "What does that mean?" They said, "Well, if we turn right, you'll die." What do you mean you'll die? Well, if you turn right, you go into the Palestinian Authority-controlled territories, and as a Christian, a Westerner, or a Jew, they'll kill you. It's like, well, what kind of ridiculous double standard here? If Arabs come into the Israeli-occupied areas, they're given benefits and rights to vote. You go into the Palestinian Authority areas, Palestinian Authority-controlled areas, you get your head cut off. That was a really interesting moment for me.
Now, I can look at that video and say it's a little older video of Charlie. The one at Cambridge is a more modern video. But let's look at this other video that I seen of Tucker saying what he's saying and Charlie at events publicly. These are not old events. This is public events that Charlie has had. And this is a little compilation that I saw with Tucker and these events where Charlie is literally, in part, debunking that what Tucker is saying was the totality of what he believed. It could have been a frustrated part of what he believed, but it's not the totality of what Charlie believed. Me and Charlie were supposed to go to an event this weekend at Pastor Alan Jackson's church, the biggest Zionist pastor in America, probably. I literally went to Israel with Pastor Jackson. Charlie and Erica were supposed to come and speak at this church. If somehow he hated Netanyahu, maybe he was frustrated with him, but he hated Israel. He was changing. He had changed his entire tune. He now don't believe the stuff that he's saying there, but he's going to speak at Alan Jackson's church. What are we saying? He was a member at the same church I'm at, Dream City Church. What is the stance of the pastor at Dream City Church? A Zionist stance. What are we saying? Let's play this clip, roll it.
He did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said it to people around him many times.
We had like an hour with Netanyahu.
He's special.
Yes.
He's a special leader.
No, I say so.
Oh, and he's everything a leader should be, right? I mean, just confident and direct.
He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza.
So, it's funny. I used to say that, hey, if you as a gay person would go to Gaza, they'd throw you off of tall buildings, right? Now they don't have any tall buildings left, so I don't... Is that too soon? I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't kill Jews, stupid Muslims.
He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it.
How do you guys reconcile with the fact that despite so many American first policies and sort of speeches he gives, he still very adamantly supports Israel, a country which at times seems to be opposed with our democratic values?
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Is America first, America only?
Yes.
Oh, see, I disagree. I don't believe in America only. You do?
Yes.
Okay, so I disagree. I don't believe in America only. I think we should prioritize ourselves, but I think there is a place for America to be involved in international relations.
Bibi's defenders on the internet will call me a liar or a kook, but that's a fact.
Okay, let's put this in perspective. Does the videos that I show mean that Charlie did not feel a certain way later in his life? It does not prove that he didn't have a different feeling, a difference of emotion when it came to that. But we're talking about the body of work from a man that did not publicly say any of these things that these people are saying he said. Ask yourself the question, why he did not say this publicly. Could it be because he wasn't convinced that that was his final stance, that he was going to come and take a stance on that principle? Could he have been still processing these things? Maybe he was upset, but that doesn't mean that he was going to continue down that path. This man has spent from 20, I don't know when they started, from when he was 17 to 31 years old. Charlie had been preaching the Zionist message. And he's not just preaching it in a foolish way. He's not just blindly saying, I like Benjamin Netanyahu. You hear him articulate very clear and real reasons why he believes what he believes. All of them are fact-based, not emotionally driven. Now, I've talked to some people that have told me that Charlie was a little upset, but not in a way in which he was turning on Israel, but he was upset because he felt like he was alone in the fight as a conservative, because the youth and the younger people are turning on him because of this Israeli conflict. And that was what someone told me, the pressure that he was feeling. You look at Bill Ackman, came out on social media just recently and made mention that Charlie was, before he passed, he was trying to put together a coalition. This is online. Put together a coalition of individuals that can help with the messaging. There was a letter sent to Benjamin Netanyahu. It is mentioned that the letter was negative towards Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, I haven't read the letter. I've never seen the letter. But based on what Charlie is saying in all of these videos leading up to it, I could see how in the letter, what Benjamin Netanyahu said on television in part would have been true. I can see Charlie sending him a message, even if he didn't like him, saying you need to fix your PR. You got to fight back against this stuff. And it bothers me because I feel like that they are attacking or are forcing a young man in his vulnerability and exploiting him in his vulnerability. If Charlie would have come to me and said, man, I'm struggling with this and this and that, I would talk with him through it. I wouldn't say, look, up, you're noticing, see, up, they're bad, up, they're evil, up, they're up. And then everything Charlie say now from now on is all about the Jews. I would not advise him on that. He convinced me about Israel. And I'll tell you this, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna move on. Why did nobody say this while he was alive? This is where y'all need to pay attention to this, clip this, whatever you want to say. Why? If people believe that he was under immense pressure and being taken advantage of by donors and they were doing him in, why did nobody come out and expose that? All these people online expose everything, but nobody would expose the fact that the donors were coming after him and pressuring him. There's text messages. Well, why did nobody say nothing when he was alive? Why you don't defend him when he's alive? Why didn't you support him and defend him when he was alive so he can come out and say exactly what he wanted to say with your support? But instead, when the man is dead and he cannot defend himself, I feel like some people could be taking advantage of the situation. I wouldn't wait till I wouldn't wait. No, hold on, bro. You said what? All right. I'll do it so you don't have to do it. Let me pull up my social media. I heard that these people are pressuring my friend. I don't know their names, but you know who you are, and you better cut this out. I'm gonna blast you. Matter of fact, come on my show. Do this, do that. Let's do this. Mind you, on Tucker's Carlson show, Charlie Kirk was on Tucker Carlson show, wasn't he? Recently. That wasn't his last interview. His last interview was with Ben Shapiro, the biggest Jew of them all. But he did go on Tucker Carlson show. I didn't hear him talk about Israel this way on Tucker's show. Tucker didn't bring up nothing about this stuff on his show that I know of. There's no clips. You ain't gonna see no clips of him on Tucker's show bashing Israel in the way in which Tucker is saying he was, and that he hated or disliked Netanyahu. He hated him, whatever he said he did. You won't see Charlie saying this on anybody's show. So why then, after he's passed, all of a sudden the narrative is that unequivocally he was completely turning on Israel? I think personally, if you hate Israel, you need Israel to be wrong in every scenario, every situation. And now the biggest Zionist supporter of Israel in his death you can now make him into being anti-Israel. You can make him into being he was against the Jews. Even he didn't even believe the Jews were right. Even he was turning on the Jews. Even he didn't agree with the war. But yet you got a body of work from this man that's articulating clearly why the war exists and who's the good guy and who's the bad guy.